Whenever we want to learn more about animals here on 207, we know where to turn. Mr. Drew and his Animals too. It's an animal rescue and rehabilitation operation in Lewiston that is also open to visitors, and he travels all over the state giving lectures and educating people about animals. What have we got here today, Drew?
Right here we have what we call Jackson's chameleon. Chameleons tend to be popular want pets, but they're a very difficult animal to maintain. They're not a good beginner lizard, and a lot of people get them because of the whole concept of changing color. You know, they're going to step on blue and turn blue. They're going to step on, and they don't do that. That's their natural color. When they're stressed or angry or they're excited, they might change colors, but they don't change colors as camouflage like most people think. And so it's kind of a disappointment for a lot of people. And they're very sensitive animals. So if you have a child that wants to play with their lizard or hold their lizard, this is not it. They stress really easy.
What's really unusual, and there, you get a good shot of it there, are those 3 horns that protrude from its snout. What's the story with those?
Yeah, so those horns are only on the males. The females of this species doesn't. Not all chameleons have horns, but the Jacksons do. And the horns will be used sometimes for fighting amongst the males, for territory and such.
Who's next to him?
Well, this is Gus Gus. Gus Gus is a crested gecko, and he blends in perfect with the lichen on the tree. And he is actually a very good beginner lizard. They don't get big, they don't have the heat requirements, and before 1995, they were believed to be extinct. They didn't think any were left, and they did find them and started captive breeding programs to keep them going. Now, the nice thing about these guys is they're not big eating on insects. They're actually they make a powder specially formulated for them. You add water to it. So that's their main diet. They will eat insects, but their primary diet comes from fruit and stuff in the wild. And the thing is, if you look, he looks spiky, but if you touch him, he's actually like velvet. It's incredibly soft.
That. He looks like velvet.
Yeah, and he has
here.
these sticky little feet.
Really?
It's really amazing.
Oh my goodness, you're so
Yeah,
soft.
and if we take them, here you go. You put them in your hands, and you can feel the sticky little feet. So these are all arboreal creatures. The chameleons, they call them triceratops. They live in trees. The geckos, this particular gecko is a tree dweller, and our next animal also is a tree dweller.
Oh my goodness.
You got one more? Why don't you bring out the third animal? This one is adorable. I think Sam wants to take this home.
Listen, I would actually have this one as a pet. This is adorable. You are so cute. Oh. Okay,
right.
I'm going to stay over here with this one.
Adorable might not be the adjective that a lot of people would apply to this animal. What do we got?
Oh, that's a jungle carpet python from Australia. They can get up to about 12 feet in length, and they're an arboreal snake. They prefer living in trees. Snakes are one of the most adaptive animals on our planet. It's looking for the highest place to go, which would be you. And they just like to hang out. These guys have a long, thin tail that is meant for holding on. So if I let it go, he can actually wrap his tail to hold on. So they're very, very well adapted to living life in the trees. And the colors are perfect for blending in with the leaves and the light coming through. And just an amazing animal, really docile. When they're babies, they can be a little bit nippers. And every so often you'll hear the stories about a snake coming up in the toilets of Australia. It's usually these guys.
Oh my goodness.
So that actually happens? That's not urban myth?
No, it's not an urban myth. These guys here navigate plumbing systems quite well.
We often talk about whether these animals are endangered. What's the status of these 3?
For the longest time in their native habitat, they were considered New Caledonia and South Pacific because they thought they were extinct, so they are of special concern. The Jackson's chameleon comes from Africa. They're not of special concern, and they're actually an invasive species in Hawaii. They're causing lots of trouble there. And in Australia, these are a dime a dozen.
So what do these guys eat, by the way?
Well, they all eat different things. Primarily insects for these guys. Again, anything moves. They have these turret eyes, and they can pick out things very quickly. Let me see if I can get that.
Oh yeah, we're going to see if we can do a little.
I don't know if we can get them to eat.
I
just put it down
here on 207.
Exactly.
May or may not work.
He's getting closer.
There we
there
go.
He goes.
So yeah, these guys, they're usually a little more efficient than that, but yeah, they'll focus in on something and tag it with that sticky tongue, pull it right into their mouth.
Fascinating as always. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
If you'd like to learn more about Mr. Drew and his animals too, how to visit his center in Lewiston, how to see more of these fascinating creatures, just go to our website, the 207 section of the website or app. You'll find more information there. And we'll be back in a moment.